Home is behind, the world ahead.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to One Frame After Another. This is the first scene that I wanted to look at today because it's always been one of those scenes that have really affected me, and I just want to explore why.
Shadow to the edge of night.
So I think first of all, the relationship between Faramir and his father, it's just really good writing. That feeling of being inadequate or of not measuring up in your parents' eyes. We've all felt a version of that at some stage or another. And as the audience, we're bringing in those feelings with us, so it's just extremely relatable. And then just as a tragedy, there's a great irony to it. Faramir's father is so eaten alive with grief by losing Boromir that he sends the only son he's got left out to die. You know, and anytime you can get that into tragedy, it's really good. The whole thing just feels so pointless.
Fate.
And I think it's just a great use of intercutting two scenes together. As Faramir rides out to his death, his father slowly realises what he's just done. And that's all complemented by Pippin's song. One of the directors I worked with before, he said, no matter what you do, it's really hard to beat images and music. When you have those two elements working really well together, it is really just the purest of cinema.
So sorry, Sam. So sorry.
So I really like that transition there. Obviously, they've matched the action from one scene to another, which is done quite a lot. Like, you'd usually see it in montages. A lot of time it's just used as a stylistic way to get a character from one place to another. But the reason I quite like it here is because it kind of goes beyond that. And I don't know, there's something because Frodo's been in such a bleak place for so long now, and you think he's about to fall on the cold rock, that when they cut to this lush forest, it feels like a ray of sunshine in the film, which I think works really well. Like Frodo needed a break from the bleakness, but we needed it too.
You have failed. The world of men will fall.
I thought this was a great example of good dramatic structure. So everything seems hopeless at this point of the story, and then we hear the horn of Rohan. And you really want your story structure to be like this. You know, you might think good drama is two equal opponents going toe to toe, but actually good drama really swings. You know, there's big wins and big losses. So let's just have a look at how they use that moving forward. So it goes from all is lost to what seems to be victory.
Make safe the city!
But wait, not yet. It's important as well that every time you introduce a new obstacle for our heroes to overcome, it needs to be bigger and harder than the last one. So the writers of Rohan, they try to do what they did last time and just charge in. And again, it's a big loss. It feels almost hopeless. And they have to come up with a fresh way to defeat this new enemy. So it's not just about fighting harder, there's a puzzle they have to figure out. And then almost immediately the music kicks in. You know, there's hope again, there's momentum. The pendulum swings from one side to the other.
13 months to the day since Gandalf sent us on our long journey, we found ourselves looking upon a familiar sight. We were home.
I love it when they come home because they've changed so much over the three films, but the Shire is exactly the same as they left it. And not only do they not get a welcome home, but they're almost looked down upon for leaving in the first place. And I think that's what I want to talk about for the last scene, which is something the trilogy does really well, which is the cost of adventure. So Sam's story is actually quite typical for how a character will grow through an adventure story. And that's when you meet him at the beginning. There's something he wants, but he's unable to achieve it, whether that's down to skill or in this case courage. So he goes on an adventure and he comes across all these obstacles he has to overcome, and by the end of it he's easily able to accomplish the thing that he couldn't do at the start of the story. Frodo's story, on the other hand, is actually a lot rarer. Each obstacle that Sam faces makes him stronger, whereas for Frodo, it makes him weaker. He has to give up a part of himself. While Sam's journey is all about growth and transformation, Frodo's journey is a test of attrition. It's all about sacrifice. And what's really interesting is, even though they succeed in their goals, Frodo doesn't actually survive. Not fully anyway. He had to pay a price. And no matter how much he tries, he can't return back to normal life. The scars of the adventure haven't healed and never will heal. Frodo's character could probably be best defined as the sacrificial lamb, which is when someone who's very pure or innocent has to sacrifice themselves to save others.
We set out to save the Shire, Sam. And it has been saved. But not for me. You don't mean that. You can't leave. The last pages are for you, Sam.
When I first saw the films when I was a teenager, or even younger than that maybe, I really hated the fact that Frodo had to go. Like, it's very upsetting at the end. They'd been through so much together as friends, and of all the characters, clearly Frodo deserves a happy ending. Like, it doesn't seem fair, but also that's what's so good about it. It isn't fair. And if I'm being honest, I still don't want Frodo to go. But it's a great example of don't just give the audience what they want. You have to go further than that. It has to mean something. If the end of Sam's story represents what was won, Frodo's story is what it cost. So much like Frodo, I'm afraid my time in Middle-earth has come to an end. But if you like what you've seen here, consider subscribing, as next week I'll be breaking down a new film from a different director. Thanks for watching.